Welcome to this episode. I'm so excited because Prague was fucking incredible. I had no idea I was going to be in the city, let alone fucking love it. I was blown away. I can't tell you exactly who said, Paige, you gotta go to Prague. You're already, you're coming from Germany. You're already kind of over there anyway. Just get over there. I don't know who told me. It might have been multiple people. I don't know. But whoever you are, thank God. Thank you. Prague was never really the destination point. It was in my original, if this is your first time listening, maybe go to the first episode of season 5 where I'm talking more detail about why I decided to do this digital nomad lifestyle. But the original plan was to just stick to Western Europe for the 90 days that my passport allows me. And but before that, I traveled all in the UK. But you can get into that in past episodes. That's not what we're here to talk about. Right now, we're going to be talking about Prague and how fucking amazing it is, all the things I've done and seen and experienced. And I want you to walk away after listening to this episode with more enthusiasm of life, I need to visit Prague. And if you don't even want to travel to Prague, travel somewhere that makes you feel like super fucking special. What I really enjoyed most about this city was its charm. It just felt charming. It felt like a chapter of a fairy tale. You literally open a storybook and you're right there and you're like, okay, are you real life? And I've learned about myself what I really love most in architecture throughout this journey that I've been on, and I've been traveling now for 100-something days, is I love the grim, dark architecture, very medieval, gothic shit. The darker, the better, to be honest. If there's death and black and, swords and shit, kind of torture stuff, I kind of like that. Which is also why I think I really loved Edinburgh in Scotland so much, because it was also very grim and dark, but it's Scotland, it's so green and beautiful. It was just very it's just like an oxymoron, I think. And that's how I felt with Prague too. It had its very dark, edgy, really raw communist moments, but then it also had this very bright colors and everything's compact. So it doesn't feel very big and expansive and oh my God, it just feels it's charming. Every nook and cranny is so purposeful. So I loved Prague a lot, let alone just for the architecture. I was really blown away. So some of the places, and I'll put these all in the show notes too, everything I'm listing, but I didn't get to experience in Berlin clubbing, the birth of techno, really. And I was really upset about it. It's because I'm still having actually lower back problems. So I felt like I couldn't really dance. And so I was looking forward to Prague because I heard there's clubbing in Prague. So I did end up going to some bars and nightclubs. And I'll say I wasn't impressed with the music, but I still loved the vibe. It fit the vibe check. Everyone was a very young crowd. I'm 32, which I feel like I look, in my late 20s. I don't look that old, but I still felt like an old person there. But it was very young. Everyone was having so much fun. It was a good vibe. But the music, not so much. But I really liked there's this bar, little tucked away, and it was really neat inside, all these neon lights, called Déjávu Music Bar. And then I went to Epic Nightclub, and those were pretty good. I would recommend. Another bar that I loved so much was this place called Green Devil's Absinthe Bar. And I never had absinthe before. And I always heard these rumors about if you drink absinthe, you're actually going to trip balls, and that's actually a myth, and it's not true. It's a high percentage. It's like 75% alcohol content, and there's so many different kinds. So I went to this place, Green Devil's Absinthe Bar, and they kind of performed as well. Like, it's like on fire and shit. Like, they made a whole thing about it, which was really neat. But I loved it. I thought, it's strong. It hit the spot. There's so many different flavors. You can have anything from like literally cannabis flavored, something more floral or earthy or minty. I don't know, fruity. I loved the options. So absinthe in Prague is a definite must. There's so many different absinthe bars, but I really recommend Green Devil's because it was like a dungeon. Everything nook and cranny in the like cobblestones, like everything had a place. Random like fucking dolls heads or something, a random shoe. I don't know. I really just like these very abstract. I like going to a place where I'm like, where the fuck am I? That makes me feel really good. It makes me feel safe. I don't know why. Because it's like they put a lot of thought into it, but maybe they didn't put any thought at all. But it was also just very, very hipster, It's like, oh, this could also probably fit well in Portland, right? But this fucking place is probably in the fucking at least 1700s. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, I think like absinthe, even if you're not a drinker, just go to these bars, get a bottle of water, get a mocktail, get something, because it's such a vibe, these really cool bars. And so speaking of, like, I guess while I'm still talking about alcohol, and I want to keep this in mind, okay? First things first, I am a life coach. I am a mental health advocate. I do not condone drinking and driving. I do not condone substance and alcohol abuse at all. I'm super fucking strict about that. And honestly, during my solo travel, I'm going to tell you right now, it's kind of hard for me to get drunk. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something to do with the sea level. I don't know. But also I'm just being fucking safe. Like, I'm solo traveling. I don't want to just drink and be like, it's not good for me as a woman, as a person. Like, I need to be on my shit. So anyway, I just want to have this caveat in this podcast to make that very clear. Have a few drinks, have a good time, but please be responsible. Please be safe. That's a big deal. Okay, back to just this beer that I tried. I can't even pronounce this shit, but their Czech beer was a Pilsner Urquell. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's in the show notes. I really enjoyed it. I went to that like brewery basically, and the way, and I'm drinking my beer outside. I'm enjoying the fucking view. I just had gorgeous weather all of Prague. Like, it was stupid. I'm sitting outside with this beer, and I asked the waiter, may I have the bill, please? And he comes back with another beer. I think he thought I said beer instead of bill. So I'm like, oh, no. And he's like, yeah, you will have these too. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm drinking some more. I just thought that was kind of funny. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that kind. And yeah, I think in general, I guess the last kind of like alcohol topic, I'll just keep going and then we'll talk about other things. But I really loved this one place. I cannot pronounce it. I will not even fucking try. Vytopna. I can't. I don't know. But it's more near the city center, like kind of where like, I don't know, where like H&M and Sephora, like those kind of mainstream stores would be in this area of Prague. But this restaurant was so cool. You walk upstairs and they deliver your beer and food via train, like a little toy choo-choo train, and it's so cute. And if you go to the show notes, not only you'll find that bar, but click on my Instagram, and I have a picture of like it coming up It's so cute. It like goes choo choo, and you know that one's yours, and you pick it up and it says choo choo, and then it goes away. I don't know. It's so cute. It's like, I want all my beer delivered by train. It was amazing. And then the last one is I did visit this bar. I didn't get any beverages, but I went to this bar called Crossbar, which was really neat. It was very steampunk with the metal and the clocks, and it was on the other fucking side of town, though. That was quite a trip. But the last bar that I'm super stoked about, that was just a good vibe. Also, very like similar, you got to go down to like this dungeons basement deal. But you walk around and you get fucking lost. There's so many different alleyways, but it's also a concert venue too. And it's all neon lightings, and different artists are like spray painting on the walls and shit. And people are literally drinking beer in these little nooks and crannies. Like, they got to climb up the wall to then find like a spot to drink. It was just so rad. The bartender was literally a magician and would like tease the customers and like play these games, and is like, hey, if I get this right, you don't have to, or if you get this right, you don't have to pay for your drink, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was just like a mind reader. He did all these tricks. I don't know. It was really fun. It was really cool experience. But that was called Dog's Bar, which I'm a big fan. Please go to that bar. What was also kind of neat is you pay a card, like an entry fee, and they give you this plastic card, but that is money loaded for your drink and food. They had pizza, drinks, and I said it was a concert. So there's actually these really cool, and I went on like a Wednesday night, so I was pretty grateful it wasn't packed. But there was this like show where these two women were singing, and I'll also tag them as well so you could follow them. But they sang like Beautiful Angels. They sang a lot of Russian songs, but spoke English. I don't know. I really liked their vibe. They had really good covers and good original songs too. So I'll definitely include them as well. But yeah, Dog's Bar, highly recommend. Okay, other things that happened in Prague. I was probably there for 6 or so days, which I really think that was a perfect time for me. I was going back and forth of like, how long should I stay? Should it only be like a weekend? Should it only be 3 days? But I was thinking about my overall mental health and my physical health. And when I'm lugging around my fucking backpack every 2 days, like, that shit fucking sucks. So I was like, you know what? No, it's right now the lodging's kind of cheap. So I'm going to extend my stay to 6 days. And I'm so glad I did, because I think sometimes when you do something just for a weekend, you don't really feel the full effect. And there's a lot of FOMO going on, a lot of fear of missing out of like places and, you know, things to eat and do and see. So 6 days, I felt really comfortable. Like, I think because it was also just a very compact, great, like everywhere I've been staying, like whether that's a hotel or Airbnb, I've been really lucky with the location. Like, I pick really good city center places where it's great walking distance, like, and I feel really safe. So the hotel I stayed in, I just felt like I was a 15-minute walk to whatever main square, or it was an easy access to catch the tram. And so I mean, I'm glad like I said, I'm glad it was 6 days, because it just felt more familiar. And then I didn't have to rely so much on my Google Maps. It felt really good. So I was really proud of my duration. So some of the attractions, some tourist shit that I did. I went to the Municipal Library of Prague, and they have this really famous book tower. It's really cool. It's this nice like spiral oval thing, and you can look inside and up and down, and it's really fucking cool, the way that they carved all of these books together. So go check out that book tower. And then obviously the famous astronomical clock. So this is in this like main square. You can't miss it, but it's this massive clock. again, I just think Prague is so steampunk. It's like so ahead of its time with the gothic like metal and clocks. Like, I don't know, it gives me steampunk vibes. But this clock is so fucking cool because part of the clock shows all of the components of your zodiac sign. And I wish I had more info on you. Like, you can totally look it up, but I just loved this clock. It made me feel like this is aligned and I'm like right on time in life. It felt very metaphorical. So I loved that, visiting that clock and like kind of watching it, because like the handles on the clock, the hands are very fucking weird. I went to the Prague Castle and they had this bell tower, and I fucking climbed 287 steps all the way to the top. That was a trip. I was exhausted, but oh my God, what a view. What a fucking view of the whole city. I really enjoyed it. Definitely worth it. It was like, I don't know, €6. Absolutely worth it. Go up there, make sure, and it's all a spiral staircase. Like, that's it. No elevator, nothing. So, make sure you don't, I had a leather jacket on, so I had to like take it off. Just make sure you travel light as you're walking up, but the views are absolutely incredible. I highly recommend. I also visited, there was the famous, like, there's a John Lennon wall that you could go to, and everyone like kind of writes on it too, so you can kind of see like your messages, and that's a pretty famous wall. And I also went on a riverboat night cruise. It was only an hour of sightseeing on the main river, and you get to see everything lit up at night. So I recommend going in the evening. That way, everything's lit up. The Charles Bridge, the famous Charles Bridge, is so fucking pretty. And people are like playing music and stuff, and you could hear it. And yeah, it was a very calm boat tour. I mean, it was probably around, I don't know, anywhere between 20 and 30 euros also. But yeah, it was nice and calming. And oh my God, I went like right when the sunset hit and then into the evening. So try to catch it. Like, look, when you're booking a trip, a boat tour like that, try to catch when sunset is into the night. I highly recommend. All right, the last thing I'll say about Prague, well, a couple things. First of all, you have to try this chimney cake. It is essentially reminds me of a churro. It's just a massive churro, but it's a chimney, so it's hollow. But it's this funnel cake, and it's pure cinnamon. But you could, they have all kinds of different concoctions. Like, you can have ice cream in it. You can have chocolate syrup. You can have nuts, pistachios, whatever. I had a Nutella-filled chimney. And what's interesting is that the Czech chimney cake, I guess I'm going to see when I go to Budapest if that's going to be different than the Hungarian chimney cake. Because I guess there's a fucking debate between who started what and whose is better. So I'll keep you posted. But I really enjoyed this chimney cake. So please make sure to get one. You can see a million stands. They all have it. But it's really good. It's pretty sweet. But it has that cinnamon sugar, and it's really good. So a few lessons from Prague as just a moral compass, just like what I really fucking took away, was the beauty of surprise. And so for you, have you experienced something similar where this didn't even end up on your path, but you were just pleasantly surprised? Maybe you were running errands to the grocery store and someone, paid for your groceries. I don't know, like, that's kind of specific, isn't it? But something about being pleasantly surprised is really the joys of life, I think, when we just aren't expecting these things to come. And I mean, I think there's a theme throughout this season. I've probably mentioned this in almost every episode, but being present has been so important to me, because I tend to, I don't know about you, But as a recovering perfectionist and recovering people pleaser, this mode I get into and fear of missing out, right? I gotta do the thing. I have this plan. I'm so future fucking oriented and tripping out and having to make sure everything's okay. But at some point, you gotta just release that shit and accept it for what it is. And I truly just accepted Prague for what it was and me just being there. And that was, the furthest away from home I've been. Next week's episode, I'm going to be talking about Budapest, and that's going to be the furthest I've ever fucking been away from the States. So yeah, I'm getting further and further away, and I'm just really, Prague overall taught me the beauty of life, and like there's just something so special about the unknown. Because like I said, it was not planned for me to go to that city at all. But it was a total fucking whim of like, I'm fucking doing this. And I did it, and I really fucking enjoyed it. I cannot wait to go back. I can't wait to show someone where I've been. Whether that's a partner or a family member or a friend. Like, I can't wait to share that with them, what I saw, and explore that together. But for now, these memories are for me and me alone, and I'm super fucking grateful. Thank you, Prague. You're fucking dope. I can't wait to go back. Welcome to Paige's Lessons, a podcast dedicated for those who seek advice and wisdom on how to become the best versions of themselves in the most authentic way. If you identify as someone who is ambitious, goal-driven, and a badass, you've come to the right place. Self-reflection, mental health awareness, and exploring life's transitions is at the heart of our conversations because I truly believe every single day provides a lesson. I'm your host, Paige Mitchell, a board-certified life coach, motivational speaker, and mental health advocate. I can't wait to share these golden nuggets with you. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or head over to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Subscribing and posting a review helps to improve engagement and is essential for the podcast to be discovered by new listeners. Thanks again for listening, and remember, every day provides a lesson. Take care.